Hey, what's up, guys? Like this in it, and wanted to revisit my go-to rifle setup. Some stuff has changed with it. Mainly, got a SBR stamp back, so now it is an actual short barrel rifle with a stock instead of pistol brace. And I went with the BCM stock. I'm not sure. I think it's like the gunfighter stock or some shit like that. I don't know. They look cool. I like BCM stuff. Absolute nightmare to put the damn thing on the buffer tube. You gotta put a tool in here and pry it down like your life depends on it. It was a damn blast, I tell you. But other than that, pretty cool stock. I like it. You do get a QD attachment point there, and that's what the butt profile of it looks like. So it's got like a little rubber pad on there for traction. Got the BCM pistol grip. I don't know which one, whatever, sue me. And then BCM vertical foregrip on there. Still running the SIG Romeo 5 on a Reptilia 193 mount. No issues. I've had that thing for a while. It works. It's a budget optic, yes. There's a lot of other shit out there that's gonna be, I guess, better, especially for passive aiming, like EOTech comes to mind. But you know, this right here costs a whole hell of a lot less money than an EOTech, so that's why I'm still rocking with it. I don't really find any reason to change it. Even I took a night class, I was fine with it. You know, I get it. There's other stuff that's available, but you know, the shit still works. So I just rock with it, and pretty capable with it. I can hold my own with it, especially given my terrain, my environment, my geographical location. We don't do a lot of long range shooting and stuff like that. You gotta travel pretty far typically for long range, and you know, generally speaking, that's not something that I'm doing a whole lot of anyway. So this right here works pretty good. I like LPVOs, but if I get into LPVO set up on something like this, I'm gonna end up having to do a piggyback, red dot, and the gun's gonna get heavy as shit real fast. I've dealt with the heavy guns with the LPVOs before, and they really they're just heavy as hell. You know, I don't know. I'm not really a fan of it. Unless I guess maybe if you want to spend a shit ton of money on one, you might could get the weight down some. I don't know that much about them, but the one I have is the Vortex Strike Eagle, and it weighs a lot. So I just keep it on on my 16-inch gun. But anyway, Blue Force gear, sling on here. I just got a little keeper I made up with bungee cord and a cord lock or whatever you call it. And got the sling mounted kind of towards the rear here. And these are like Magpul QDs, but they still rattle. I don't know what I have to do to get rid of that rattle. But anyway, so YHM Turbo K on there, and running it with the QD and running the YHM flash hider. So that's how that works. I went with the mod button with the dual lead. One will go to the Holosun LS221G, and then the other one goes to the Surefire M640 Vampire Scout Light. So that gives me white light, and then I can turn the head and go IR light, and it works pretty good for what it is. And then of course here I got visible and IR laser, no illuminator. And IR and visible laser are slaved. I think that's important. That way you can zero in normal conditions. You don't have to zero under night vision. Zeroing a laser and guns can be aggravating at times, depending on circumstances and stuff like that, different conditions. Everybody's had some frustrating times zeroing guns if you've ever done it more than once. And sometimes you just gotta pack your shit up and try again later, especially when you start getting fatigued or getting frustrated or if it's hot outside, etc. So I definitely enjoy having the visible, and it lets you also be able to go back and verify your zero periodically, even in the daytime or just under regular lighting conditions without having to put on night vision and everything. So I think that's important. And it is a DDM4 V7S, 11.5-inch upper, and Anderson or PSA lower. I think it's a PSA lower. PSA complete, factory lower, no frills. It's just a lower, you know, and it works. No issues there. And just a rattle can job like usual. Got some rail covers on here to cover up some of the metal because that shit gets hot when you're shooting. Got a couple M-lock pieces on the side. Had this one on there for something else, left it on there. And then I got one up front for the light. And that's pretty much the rundown of it. But I know that the LS221G is one of my more popular videos from a while back. So just want to let everybody know that this thing is still fine. I don't have any issues with it. It's been out in the rain and it's been out in classes. It's been running around. It ran around with me on property before. I don't have any issues with it. It holds zero. I have nothing bad to say about the laser aiming module. Sure, there are a ton more options out there. You know, the civilian powered illuminators are what they are, which is why I went ahead and passed on that because I didn't see putting the money into something like a mall or anything like that. And even the civilian PECs, what are they called? At PLCs, I heard that they're illuminators, and from what I've seen on YouTube and stuff, they're just not very great either. So I figured with the Surefire, I'll just make do. And I've been able to make do. And I also like that I can lock out the Surefire. I can turn the head all the way to off, and then it's just off. And then also too, if I want to, I can toggle my switch on my laser aiming module and have it on, say, IR or visible. Typically, I'm only going to use it for IR. So I can have it on IR and I can use it by itself, or I can use the light by itself in visible or IR, or vice versa with the press of the mod button, as long as I set myself up right, you know, at the beginning. And yeah, I guess that's it. But I do want to show you guys through Nightvision what kind of performance you can expect from the setup that I'm running, both the IR illuminator or the vampire light and the IR laser, the LS221G by HoloSun, and let you guys see that through the Nightvision tube. So it'll take me a minute to get that set up, and then I'll be back with you guys to give you a kind of a first person view of what that looks like. Now, it's not going to be super long range. Like I said, the nature of my terrain where I am is hilly, and you typically can't see very far unless you're on top of a damn hill looking way off, over the landscape. So we got a lot of rolling hills, a lot of thick vegetation, a lot of trees and all that shit. So you're not going to be able to see very far anyway from where I'm going to be set up at. But I'll set that up and then I'll get back with you guys. All right, guys, so here we go. And this is just looking out into the backyard. And we're going to do the HoloSun LS221G on IR low. And that's what this is right here. And that's just looking off in the woods. And then here's the little structure in the backyard. I'd say it's maybe 40 yards, something like that. Maybe 50. Probably not 50. And then out there, I'd just be totally guessing as far as how far that might be. And then I'll show you the vampire light. And it's just got one setting, so here it goes. And that's actually both of them together. And then we'll crank up to IR high on the Holosun unit, and we will turn off the vampire light for the first demonstration. And that's IR high from the Holosun laser. You kind of see how it blooms when you're up close. So the high is plenty, I think, on the civilian powered laser, for at least for my uses. I don't really have any situation where I could figure I would need much more power than this. And obviously it'll shine much more or much further than this, but these are just the limitations that I have with this terrain that's available to me right now. So, but plenty of laser. And that's on IR high with the Holosun. All right, and then back to dual mode for me anyway, which is the vampire and the Holosun. So vampire light is pretty much, it just kind of has a lot of spill to it. It's like a flood almost. But that's just the way it is. One of the limitations of it. I mean, you can see what's going on down in there. I feel like 100 yards, probably. I mean, it'll throw enough light down through there. You know, if you were trying to engage something at about 100 yards, but until you got to figure the less ambient light you have, the more dramatic the effect of the illuminator or anything that you introduce, any kind of outside lighting, is going to be magnified. So, but right now the moon is out, but it's behind some clouds. And there's probably a little bit of spill from some IR and floodlights from my neighbor's camera as well. There typically is when I'm wearing the nods, I can see it, but I can't really tell right now. So that's what it looks like with the Holosun laser on high and the Surefire M640 Vampire. So it's a workable system. I mean, it's a decent setup for what it is. And it is, or it was to me, one of the most budget conscious setups that I determined to be suitable for my needs. So it may not suit you depending on what you're doing or where you are, what kind of situations you're involved in, but for me, this right here, it works just fine. And I may find myself in the future in a situation where I'm like, this ain't gonna cut it, but so far I haven't ran across that. But there it is. And I'm bumping the camera. Sorry about that. But I just wanted to show that to you guys so that you could see kind of what sort of performance you would have, or what you might could expect from the Holosun and also from the M640V. And that's the Holosun on high by itself, and then back to low on the laser. That was me. I'm just turning it on constant. All right, guys. I hope that helps. I'm out of here. Appreciate you.